With St. Patrick's Day right around the corner, you have a decision to make. What Irish beverage will you choose? In my opinion, there's only one choice: a Dry Irish Stout. Its silky smooth texture and dry finish make it the perfect pint for a day filled with fun and drinking. I'm TheBruSho, and this is TheBruSho. Let's brew this Dry Irish Stout. When you hear Irish Stout, the first thing that probably comes to mind is Guinness. Creamy yet light and easy to put a few back, especially on St. Patrick's Day, our national drinking holiday in America. When I lived in Chicago, it was almost as if the whole city shuts down for St. Patty's, except for the bars, of course. The city dyes the river a bright Kelly green, and people start drinking as soon as they wake up. A few Irish bomb shots with your friends in the morning, it's a great time if you can make it past noon. St. Patty's Day is a great excuse to drink your favorite Irish beverage of choice. But today we're going to stick with the classic Dry Irish Stout. I have some leftover ingredients from other brews, and I'm looking for a more casual brew day, so I'll be cutting some corners. Limited measurements, minimal adjustments, and just plain brewing fun. Before we get started, hit the like button for more brewing recipe videos like this. Also, I wanted to mention I started a Discord server for the channel. You can find the invite link down below. Join in on the conversation and share your brewing stories. And lastly, subscribe if you haven't, so you can stay up to date on all that's happening on TheBruSho. Now, let's brew. Like I mentioned, I had some various grains left over from other brews, and when looking at them, I figured I could definitely put together a stout recipe. So feel free to adjust this however you like, but I'm just going to make do with what I have. For this recipe, I'm making a 5-gallon batch using the brew-in-a-bag method. One of the reasons I love BIAB is that it really makes the brew day easy. Everything in one pot makes cleaning a breeze. To start, I heat up 6 gallons of water to about 155 degrees. Usually I weigh out all my water adjustments carefully, but today I'm just going to toss in a handful of calcium chloride. My goal is to increase the mouthfeel and body as much as I can, and one way to do that is to bump up the chloride levels in the sulfate to chloride ratio. I'm just winging it here, but feel free to be precise if you want, or you can skip this altogether. Once the water is heated up, I add the grain bag, and next I'll add the grains. For the grain bill, I have several odds and ends, but in general, I'm aiming for about 85% Pale Malt. I have some Maris Otter, which is great for this style. There's also some 2-row and a splash of Munich for some biscuity punch. About 10% Roasted Barley for color and flavor. Roasted Barley is one of the quintessential flavors of Guinness, but just don't overdo it on this. It can really give an acrid taste in higher amounts. And lastly, 5% or less of Carapils for improved body and head retention. I just add a little bit, so I threw a handful in. My plan is to mash at 150 for 30 minutes or so, and I'm really just going to let it go. No babying the temp to keep it at 150, and if it falls a few degrees, that's fine. If anything, the lower temps will promote more fermentable sugars to help dry out this beer when fermenting. Not worrying about the mash really allowed me to enjoy the early morning sunrise and see the bees do their bee work. Anywho, after about 30 minutes, I pull the grains and squeeze the bag. Usually I heat up some sparge water to 170 and measure it precisely. Today I just got some cold tap water and poured it over to give the grains a rinse. I then dumped the grains, saving some for dog treats or other baked goods later in the week. So now I bring the wort to a boil. I have no desired length of time for the boil. I'm just going to let it go until I hit my desired original gravity. I'm aiming for about a 1.040. So at the start of the boil, I take a quick refractometer reading to know where I'm at. Now it's time to add the hops. You already know what it is, my go-to, Magnum. Probably just under an ounce here. Really just looking to add some clean bitterness. If you're looking to be more traditional, you can use any English hop you have, but Magnum's what I have, so it's what I use. Additionally, I had a small amount of homegrown Cascade hops. I have no idea how many IBUs this might add, but it's been in my freezer and I've been meaning to use it. Whole leaf cones don't break down like pellets, so probably best to use a hop spider to prevent clogs. Since I'm not adding a lot, I just toss them in. I'm looking forward to this year's hop harvest, and I'll be sure to bring you along the way. I also throw the wort chiller in a few minutes later. Finally, a about 30 minutes give or take later, I hit the original gravity of 1.041. Good enough for me. I then chill the wort down to 90 degrees since I didn't have any ice and I don't feel like waiting any longer, and transfer into a fermenter. I put that fermenter in a bucket with ice water to cool it down further. While that cools down, let's talk yeast. I'm using SO4 English ale yeast, but any good English yeast would work here. I saved some yeast from my previous batch and built it up with the starter the day before. Do you save your yeast? What techniques do you use to save it? Let me know in the comments. By now the wort has chilled down to about 67 degrees, perfect ale temperature. So I'll take my active yeast starter and pitch it in. I give the fermenter a good shake to mix it up and incorporate oxygen before adding an airlock and placing it in a cool dark place for 1 week. Fermentation activity was strong after about 12 hours, and in only 4 days, airlock activity had stopped altogether. My guess is the amount of healthy yeast I pitched really helped the beer get off to a strong start. After a few days, I raised the temp slightly to about 70 degrees to help ensure we reach our final gravity. And after about another 48 hours, I took a reading and got 1.010, meaning this beer comes in at about 4.1% ABV. We officially have beer. So I decided to keg it up as is. I used this close transfer technique by putting a liquid connect on a piece of tubing and attaching it to the spigot on my fermenter. Just make sure you release the pressure on the keg first, otherwise you'll be shooting CO2 up into your fermenter. Then I just opened the valve up and let it all drain into the keg. Once it's all in the keg, I also collected some yeast for future batches. Gotta keep this yeast train rolling. I then set it in the fridge as well as the keg with about 30 psi applied to burst carbonate for 36 hours, before reducing down to 10 psi for serving. At which point, this Irish Stout was ready to drink. This Irish Stout is a dark, deep, rich brown color with warm undertones. The head has a tannish beige appearance. And when I take a smell, I get an appetizing roasted barley and ground coffee aroma. On the taste, the roasted malts really shine here. I get a hint of coffee and almost burnt toast notes at the end, and it tastes light despite the color. It's funny that dark beers always make me think they're heavy, but I forget that they can be light as well. While I try to improve the body with the calcium chloride, without nitro, it doesn't have the quintessential Guinness mouthfeel. I would say it has more of a medium body, but with some beer gas could be quite similar to the famed Irish Stout. In honor of St. Patrick's Day, have an Irish bomb shot from me. I hope this video inspires you in some way, whether it's to try brewing with some leftovers, try making your brew days more relaxed, or just try brewing up an Irish Stout. Brewing doesn't have to be complicated, and you can still make great beer by cutting some corners. And real quick, I want to give a shout out to Withered Ales on Instagram for sending me some pics of their Tepache-inspired sour IPA. That sounds right up my alley, and I'm excited to see how they improve the recipe. If you make this Irish Stout recipe, or any beverage inspired by something I've made, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a pic on Instagram @TheBruSho, and maybe I'll shout you out in a future episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next brew day.